Hey there guys, good afternoon. Got off work a little late today, but we have a truck here that we're going to be doing some work on. And well, I'll show you why we're going to be doing the work on it in a bit. Belongs to one of the new guys that came into work, named Rolando. He's fairly new. A friend of mine calls him the new 2021 and a half. So the truck belongs to him. And we're going to be working on it today. Hopefully we can finish it today so I can take it back to him tomorrow. Let me show you what's wrong with the vehicle first, and then I'll tell you what we're going to be doing. Well guys, this is his Ford F-150. It's not a 4x4, but he did lift it. And as you can see, this side's sitting pretty much, it looks pretty much normal. But let me show you the front real quick. And as you can see, the truck is sitting lopsided. It looks like there's a whole bunch of weight on the driver's side, and look at the space on the passenger side. This thing is at least 2.5 inches taller on the left side than the right side. So we found a leaf spring that is actually looks somewhat bent. He did have some kind of a little mishap or an accident, and the leaf spring in the back looks bent. So on this one, we're going to be doing front coil springs and leaf springs in back. Hopefully we can bring this truck back to its normal height and straight, because right now, yep, it is sitting lopsided. He's having trouble driving it, and well, it doesn't look that nice. So let me go ahead and start taking those tires off and start pulling the front springs off to replace those first, and then we'll go to the back leaf springs later. Sorry about the mess, guys. I got a small space and I got to work out of here, so I do have a mess. But let's go ahead and get started. Well guys, there we removed the tire. As you can see, he had already replaced upper control arm, tie rod ends. I believe he did the lower ball joint, and he put spacers on this thing to make the tire stick out just a little bit. Well, on this one, we're going to go ahead and get this tie rod in, remove it 11/16. We're going to remove that upper ball joint. We're going to remove that shock and this little stabilizer link, 1/2 inch on both sides. Shock is half. I think it's half on the bottom also. This one's 11/16, I believe, and the nut for the ball joint, I believe, is 7/8. So I'm going to go ahead and get the caliper off. These are 1/2 inch. Pull this caliper off to the side. I just don't want to mess up that hose from pulling the control arm out. He had done a 2-inch lift with a spindle, so all that's going to stay. Let me go ahead and remove that shock and all that other stuff so that I can go ahead and start tearing this apart and replacing that spring. Alright, give me 1 second, guys. First thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take this caliper off. Like I said, it's 2 1/2 inch bolts holding it in place. The cradle can stay in place. All I got to do is get that caliper so I don't overstretch that hose. It's got some play, but I just don't want to mess it up. So I'm removing it. Sorry, bud. Two 1/2 inch. We take a flathead screwdriver, pop it behind the caliper, squeeze out a little bit of the oil back into the cylinder, and remove the sucker. So that's it right there. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this tie rod end. And it wasn't an 11/16, guys. I found out that it was a 7/8, but I was off. Well guys, I couldn't find my 3-pound sledge. I'm gonna use just a regular hammer. Hit it right here, not on the little tie rod, on the spindle, a couple of times and it'll loosen it right up. Well guys, I set up a jack under the lower ball joint because I'm going to loosen this upper ball joint nut and I don't want that thing to fly. Now it's on there. Let me get there. I got a little bit more pressure off of it. Alright, got it loose. I haven't taken it off yet. I gotta get the stabilizer link. Yeah, it's still too tight. Gotta go up on the jack just a bit more. Relieve some more of that pressure. There. Now I can take it off. Get the caliper out of the way. Get my pry bar and pull that spring, that control arm up and out of the way. All right, we got that. Now let's go ahead and get this little sway bar link. Well guys, let me get that sway bar link out of the way. Well, it's loose. I don't have to yank it out. It's loose. I just want this arm to go down when I get that loosened or off. I'm going to remove the top shock little bolt nut and the two lower bolts that hold the shock in place. I can go ahead and pull it out. I think I'm going to be able to get that old spring off without compressing it with a tool. Well guys, shock is off. Let me get it out of the way. There's that. So now I'm going to try lowering this. See if I can get enough pressure off of that spring to be able to pull it out without using the little spring tool. How does it look, guys? Yep. This ABS sensor stretched out quite a bit, but not enough to rip it or tear it. That's good. And that coil spring needs to come down just a bit more. that control arm, sorry, for me to be able to get that spring out of the way. And that's going to be it. Let me see if I can get that spring out. Well guys, that's the removal. We still have to install it. Well guys, here comes our new spring. And as you can see, the bottom here, it's got like a little crevice where this little part of the spring actually fits into. And the top is flat. Yep, it's flat. And that's where this flat part of the spring goes. So let me try and see if I can get it in there. And I'm going to try and see if I can get away from using that spring compressor. Come on, baby. There we go. It's in the notch. It's in its place. Let me see if I can lift it, and let's see if it's going to go in there. Alright, let's see what happens. I'm going to start going up slowly. I think it's working, guys. That thing is on there. Well, sorry about that. Camera went off and I didn't see it. What I did there is I lifted the spindle just high enough for me to be able to get this pry bar on this little spring little chamber and push down on the upper control arm so that I can get that nut on there. Alright, that's already on. I can go ahead and tighten up. I gotta get it to where this little clevis pin goes in so that I can lock that nut in place and it doesn't back out. There's that one. Now I can go ahead and get this tie rod in back in place. Get this sucker tightened up. There's that one. And then again, get this little pin in there so that the nut doesn't back out. And voila, we're back. We got our tie rod in, we got our ball joint, we got our spring in place. Now we can go ahead and start putting everything back together. So guys, let me go ahead and assemble this thing. I'll come back to you guys once it's done. Well guys, let's go ahead and put on that tire and see how much of a difference we got from that new spring. Alright, let me bring the tire over and put it on. I'm going to do the tire install on time lapse. Well guys, that's the front springs. I haven't done the leaf springs in the back, but already look at the space on that tire. There's a lot more gap from that fender well to that tire. Now the difference is maybe an inch and a half, something like that. It's a little bit less. And remember that the damaged part was the rear leaf spring. So when I get that one done, this truck should be a lot closer to being level than what it is right now. So let me show you the front real quick. It still looks a little lopsided, but we still got to get the one that is actually damaged, the rear leaf spring, the one on the driver's side. That's the one that's all messed up. So let me go ahead and start with those. Well guys, here getting dark. It's getting a little dark, but I gotta try and see if I can finish this one. This is the leaf spring that was damaged. So I already took the tires off. I put jack stands, lowered the differential a little bit more than what it was. Now I'm going to loosen up these 4 bolts, these U-bolts that hold up that differential to the leaf spring. Well guys, I loosened the 4 bolts. Now I'm going to go ahead and I guess I'm going to loosen the 2 bolts holding up the leaf spring, one in the front and the one in the back on the shackle. I'm not going to be able to record that. I'm not going to get a clear picture of that one, so I'll try and see if I can get a clear picture of this one, guys. Let me go ahead and get the rear one off. It's the one that goes on the shackle. I'll be back with you guys in a bit. Let me go ahead and get that one done. Real quick guys, these are the 2 new leaf springs that the gentleman brought me. So I'm going to go ahead and install these. I don't know where he got them. I know they got a Texas UPS on them, but don't know from where. But let me go ahead and remove the other one so I can go ahead and get this installed. These 2 installed. Well guys, we removed the bolt in the bottom of the shackle, and I already removed the nut on the top of that shackle. Alright, the U-bolts are removed, and so is this front bolt over here. So right now, let me go ahead and lift that leaf spring out from under this truck and bring the new one in and go ahead and start installing it. I just want to show you guys. I couldn't get clear video of me removing the bolts because of the tight little space that we're in, but I just wanted to show you what the shackle is, where the bolts are. Bottom one is 13/16, and this one over here is 15/16. Oh sorry, no, it's 21. So let me go ahead and get this one out and get the new one in place. Well again guys, I couldn't show you much because of the small space that I'm in. There's a leaf spring. I already got that bolt. That's a new leaf spring. I got that little hanger, both bolts. Now here, the differential kind of moved back just a bit, maybe ½ an inch. So I got to pull this sucker forward for it to fall, and this little block has a little hole for this bolt to fall into. It's kind of like a little alignment, little dowel. So I got to bring this forward so it'll fall into place, so I can get those U-bolts and that cradle and tighten it up. Sorry I couldn't show you guys that much, but like I said, I mean, I'm working in a very tight space. Let me show you. Over here I have the old leaf spring and the new leaf spring. This leaf spring, this little flat bar at the bottom was touching the rest, while the other side has a gap like that one. I don't know exactly why that one failed, but it did. So let me go ahead and just finish this one off, and I'll show you guys the difference in height. Sorry about not being able to record the leaf springs, but it is nighttime, and look at the space that I have to work with. So let me go ahead and get that differential aligned, get those U-bolts on there, get the other side, and then I'll show you how the truck is going to look after both leaf springs and both springs are on the vehicle. So let me go ahead and finish this one up. Well guys, there's a leaf spring. Shackle's already bolted and tight. Front anchor bolt is already bolted and tight. I got the U-bolts, and I use that little ratchet strap to pull that differential, that little bit that I have to go forward. I got that little 2-inch block on the differential. So this side's done. All I gotta do is get the other side, put the tires back on it, and hope for the best. So I'll come back to you guys once I'm done. Once I've done the other side, and we'll go ahead and put the tires back on it and see what it's going to look like. All right. Well, guys, it got pretty dark, but I mean, truck looks pretty much level. This side, the fender well is now like, I don't know, let's say 4 inches off of the tire, and it's a little bit more over here on the rear. The truck used to be lopsided. I mean, that looks pretty much a lot closer to being straight to me. This is open, and this is open. Well, we'll see tomorrow when we drive it, go deliver it to the owner, see what he thinks. But well, we just replaced 2 front coil springs and 2 rear leaf springs. Well guys, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys like it. Like and comment, but